Welcome back to the Prof G and Shively Next Play podcast. Episode 10 is a milestone, Matt.
10.
10. Is this when we get a salary now?
No, we can go buy some celery if you want a
True.
snack.
We could.
Peanut butter and raisins, ants on a log. You ever have that growing up?
Ants on a log, yes.
So good.
Celery with the peanut butter and the raisins.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, if you don't like the ants, you could just have the log.
And the
let's not go there.
I don't even
Let's
know
not go
what
there.
that is. I don't know what that is.
Anyway, so I'm excited though. We've made it 10 episodes here, almost through the first 3 sports at this point of the season, and then we've got 3 more sports kicking off. Are you excited?
I am excited. I'm excited to call some new sports that we haven't called yet. I think of all the sports we've called, basketball's our Venn diagram overlap. That we both like.
That was very academic, man. Venn diagram overlap.
Yeah. I love a good Venn diagram.
So we both know that game and understand it pretty well.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So it'll be fun. We'll get to go back and forth with the play-by-play to the color.
Not the first time around.
Yeah.
Matt Shively going to be calling a couple games solo for.
Let's do it.
Yeah, big Prof G here decided to take a vacation, so I'm actually going to miss it. I'm kind of bummed.
Yeah.
I won't be bummed when I'm there, but I'm bummed now. So yeah, so not a really overly active week this past week, but we did have a couple of good stories to tell and a couple of stories to tell.
Yeah.
Starting with the men's soccer went out to California, but the women stayed here and played here against Nelson.
Yes.
Well, here. It was at Quail Run Park in Mesa, but they were the home team.
Yeah.
Nelson playing a little bit short, but 7-2, the final on that one.
Yeah, lots of goals poured in. I mean, it's almost like being on a power play in hockey the entire game. So you should.
I think they only played 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Did they play 8 on 8?
No, they played 8 on their team. I think we played full squad.
Oh, wow.
Pretty sure.
That's surprising to me. I would think
maybe it was 9. I don't know.
Well, either way, you should have an advantage there with the fresh legs at least. And either way, it did. And it seems like that 7-2 score from what the bits I listened to while I was on the run, it sounds like it could have easily been 14-2. There was a lot of shots missing.
Yep.
And kicked right at the keeper and things like that.
Yeah. It was I kept looking over and seeing Amy standing back in our goal, kind of like, hey, guys. I'm sure she's not upset to not have a lot to do on Saturday, but the Lions definitely kept it on the other end of the field the entire game, pretty much. I think the 2 goals were even kind of freak goals that just you wouldn't have expected to go in. One was off of a free kick from about a third way out in the field. What do you call that? Do you call that the 18-meter line? Is that what you told me?
Something like that, yeah.
It was like way out there on a free kick over a wall and like in.
That's how they scored the first time around with them too. Very similar. So they must be good at those set pieces.
Yeah, yeah. But it was fun to watch. A couple of hat tricks poured in by Bossy and Raquel Trogdon. Both had 3 goals apiece.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a fun game to watch. And then I think it was it Cameron? No, who was the 7th goal? I'm trying to remember now. I'm going to get in trouble because I'll say the wrong person and they'll come up and say, hey, it was me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think too. You told me.
It'll come to me.
Right.
I think it was Cameron though. I could be wrong.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was a great way to end the regular season. Now the ladies head to the conference championship on November 14th against Nelson. So we'll see if Nelson has more players at that point, or if I'm not sure if they're shorthanded because of just injury or if they're shorthanded just in general. You know, if Justice played shorthanded the last couple of years just because. And
right.
I don't know if that's Nelson's boat right now or if they're just out with injury. So
they did have a full squad when they played here the first time around with a few subs. So, I mean, things happen. So perhaps a few girls are no longer on the team, but I would guess the injury thing.
Yeah, so they got good 3 weeks to kind of get back to health. And then, you want to see a good, even game. You don't want to necessarily say, oh, I won the conference championship, but they only played with half their players.
And if they win, they would go to nationals, correct?
Is that how it works? I didn't know if we had to have a win qualifier in addition to that. I'd have to ask Coach Navarro.
We'll have to ask Mike about that, but that's what a few of the students were assuming. But I don't know.
I mean, that seems like the natural progression. But again, I don't know if national tournament has like you have to have X number of wins, countable wins to get in. Or
I was talking to Coach Ream,
weird to say that, isn't it now?
Kareem Parks, yeah, and he was telling me that's what he thought was going to happen. And he was excited to see another one of our programs make it to nationals, no matter what the scenario.
Yeah.
You're one of two. Who cares? You're still on, and that's a good, another banner in the gym will be able to definitely go a long way with recruiting and developing the program as we go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So women's soccer, well done. Good job on your final game, and we wish you luck on the 14th. I don't know if Matt's going to be able to call that one or not because he's already calling basketball that weekend too. So
TBD, we're going to see if we can do that. Shout out to you. One of the parts I heard when I was listening in was you chatting with Kezi for a second. And she had a lot of good insight on that, on one of the goals that Bossy scored there, of how she set her up for that. And some really good inside lingo she used there, and give you a good idea of the.
And I just smiled and nodded because I'm like, yes, whatever you said.
It was great. That was really good.
I made sure to. I mean, it was a great pass that she made in for Bossy to get on that one. So I made sure when I called it to say, from Kezi, because I wanted her to get the credit for
the assist.
The assist, because it was a pretty play. She had some good footwork and then just set Bossy up perfectly. But yeah, fun game, lots of energy.
Michaela Thorvind.
Thank you.
She had the
off of the free kick.
Yeah,
thank you. There we go. See, and I get Cameron. I'm sorry, we still like you, but I gave you the wrong.
Cameron has scored a few goals this year.
So yeah, I gave the wrong credit. So Michaela, my apologies. Well done. All right, cool. So men's soccer was out of town this weekend. The first game against Nobel, and we're trying to verify the second game. We have a Saracoso was on the schedule, but we don't have results as of this moment for that. But they did have a good showing against Nobel. Unfortunately, didn't take the win.
Yeah, it took them down 1-0, but they kept it close throughout. And again, it's tough when they're out of state. We are on full reliance on if the other school has a live stream, and even if they do, Saturdays can be hard to find and catch and all that. So. But yeah, it sounds like it was a good trip though, from what we've seen online, and just getting better, getting closer every single time is a win, and excited to see these guys again in action. It's been a while since we've seen our men's soccer team.
I think there's a couple on the schedule. We're still verifying to make sure they're still timed and dated the same way. But there was one coming up on next Monday, I believe, the next November 3rd. Supposed to be at home against, I think, Bethesda, so we'll see unless they got moved.
Right.
And then there's one other game, I think, coming up after that. It's an
8th,
away game against Nelson.
Yeah.
And that'll finish off their season. So
we'll have to see where they usually play up in where they play in Paradise Valley? Where do they usually play?
Nelson. They've been playing out. The last game they played CCB Peoria. So they were on the west side of town.
So that's way out there, yeah. So we'll have to see where they play it. If it's that far out, we might not be able to go, but who knows?
If there's a conference tournament or something that we can jump into, then we'll look at that too.
Yeah.
But as of now, the schedule doesn't have specific dates for that. So, but again, I think that's a situation where it's basically us and Nelson. Is that right, in our conference?
It might be, yeah.
Or is Nobel in there maybe too? I don't know.
Well, I think Stanton, there's a few other ones. Nobel, Stanton.
We didn't play Stanton this year, though.
We did. We lost to him out there.
Very beginning of the season?
I believe so.
First
or maybe I'm thinking of the girls. I don't know.
We're doing great today, man.
We are. We know all the things.
Prof G reporting over here,
That's right. But yeah, anyway, I think not sure about how that all, if they still have a chance in making state or not, or winning the conference championship. But for sure, Nelson has revealed themselves to be our rival in all sports, and so I'm excited to see that develop in a little bit more in all of them. I mean, they're the reigning national champions when it comes to basketball, so that will be definitely fun when we see our rivalry with Nelson move into the hardwood.
Absolutely. It makes sense when they're right here in town that they would be kind of a natural rival geographically, and it turns out competitively as well.
Well, we've traded a few players too with our basketball programs back and forth. Not that we've actually traded them, but the students have.
They didn't go into the NIL transfer portal or anything?
No, they've just naturally found their way over here. I know Kamari Webb has been there in the past, and Logan DeMarie is over there now. A couple examples. So we'll see if
I didn't know where Logan went. That's good to know. He's found a landing spot.
That was what they've told me. We'll see. That was before the summer, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. So last but not least, women's volleyball finished off their season just last night. If you were able to tune into the broadcast, you saw they got straight sets on senior night against West Coast Baptist. What were your thoughts of the game last night?
Well, I thought Coach Chrissy, first of all, did a great job with just the honoring her seniors, and they're the pioneering class that truly allowed the program to become a thing. And they took a flyer. They believed in a program when it was just a club team, and they were filling out the roster with players from basically off the street. And now they have 5 seniors. Haley, who's been acting kind of as a manager this season, but has been a very key part of the team, praying after every match. She was honored, and then the 4 players that played last night were honored well, and they've all truly been the leadership of this team. And I saw a post from one of the girls to Maddie saying, "Enjoy your retirement," right? Like, it's funny. But Maddie, of course, has been here throughout. One of the ones, the first one to be baptized in the ocean as a part of their now tradition. Mm-hmm. Alyssa been named a captain 4 straight years by her peers. No surprise to you and I. We've seen her both in the classroom and on the court really show that leadership.
I never had the privilege of teaching her.
You have not, okay.
But I have my wife who graduated from Justice University, and she was in classes with her and talked about her commitment and her dedication to study and stuff like that.
Yeah, so. she was a I don't know her grade point average or anything, but I would assume she's
been a scholar athlete multiple times.
Yeah, high achiever in the classroom as well, from what I've seen. And so, yeah, anyway, all of that to say, and of course Sadie, who just going to be a teacher, got a great heart. Mm-hmm. Zoe, who transferred in, so she wasn't here the whole time, but has really made an impact the last 2 years.
Probably your first transfer, if I'm not mistaken, from an upperclassman standpoint. Zoe Pepper last year, I think, was the first that came in off from another program in another state.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Thinking, yeah. Can you think of anyone else that did? I can't.
No, and I know we have.
And then this year we have Erica Graves.
We have Erica. Where's Erica from? I forget.
I can't remember. And then we have Abby, who's not a transfer; she's a freshman, but all the way from Florida.
Yeah.
So, definitely getting the word out.
Chrissy's reach expanding across state lines. Good to see. So yeah, the program's really come a long way, and they were very, very, West Coast was very overmatched last night for sure, and so Justice took it pretty easily, but a lot of good things to talk about on the court as well. They communicated really well. I think one of my highlights was seeing them set up Zoe for a kill, which as a libero doesn't get that option very often. Mm-hmm. And you could see like the set was very intentionally like way out of location just to give Zoe a chance. And
I told Coach Chrissy after the game, I said he couldn't have scripted that better the way it went with, Sadie going on that. I think it was a 7 or 9 point run the first set on the serve.
Yeah.
So to have her do that, have Alyssa Parra have 12 or 14 kills, whatever that came out to at the end. Mm-hmm. To have Maddie, playing defense the way she did, that's kind of what she's known for. She didn't get to her dig accomplishment milestone,
300 digs, yeah.
Yeah, but the part of that was just rotation and just how fast the sets went. Like there wasn't a lot of
right.
It's hard to dig when there's not a lot of kills.
There's nothing to dig, right?
Yeah, and then to get Zoe that kill, and then to have Haley leading the prayer at the end is like, and that final point, the jump serve from Alyssa Parra after not jumping the whole night, puts it aces the serve to finish it. Kind of a nice cap on the evening. So
and a bit of a changing of the guard going on as well. Like seeing Abby have an amazing 7-point run on the service line, and
Sam Atwood's kills and
Sam Atwood
Lana's
and Lana and I believe Ray had a couple good ones as well.
And then you got the people who are going to be the natural leaders now, which is like Braden and Malayla and people like that. I'm forgetting people, and I apologize for that. But,
right.
Trying to keep all the names in my mind here. But, yeah, very encouraging program for sure.
Yeah, so I think as I see a bright future for all of them, but especially highlighting volleyball. Very well, like what I see is very well coached, very well invested in with their culture, all of that. And so again, we've been talking about that, recruiting good culture, student athletes, not just athletic and good talented athletes, but also ones that bring a lot of just really good leadership and culture and even spiritual leadership to the team.
And even if you're not leading, just the ability to meld with the team and not be a distraction or not be anything, just to be able to be part of that cohesion.
And I think they're the most united of all the sports teams we have on our campus so far.
We don't have as much inside view on soccer, maybe just because we haven't traveled with them. They haven't been a full squad, especially women's soccer until this season.
No, they've come a long way from start to. I mean, we saw that very first match out at the athletic grounds, and they've come a long way from getting like a 7-0 spot on them or 14-0. I forget what it was. It was a lot.
The football score 7-2 was a football score, but in our favor this time.
Yeah, there you go. He's got a safety.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, congratulations to all these teams that are coming down. If you haven't already finished, as volleyball has, the other two are just about to wrap up. So if you haven't made it to a game, now's your chance before the season's over. Come check out the men next Monday. Again, if you follow us on Instagram, we'll make sure that any changes or current schedule are posted there. But as it stands now, next Monday for men's soccer, and then the 14th would be the women's soccer conference championship game. So check them out. But we also wanted to touch today. We try and add a little bit of wisdom, or a little bit of something to think about at the end of each of our podcasts. And today we just wanted to talk, kind of piggybacking on last week, but what's the best way to incorporate Christ at the center of your athletic career as a student athlete here, and even as a coach or an administrator? Like, what's the best way to make sure at a Christian university your athletic programs model Christ when they're on the court, when they're off the court?
Yeah.
And so you talked about, we'll kind of start with volleyball, that they've kind of led the way in terms of that sort of culture. We've had Maddie baptized last year. We had a couple of ladies baptized this year when they were out in California. Coach Chrissy doing a great job of the discipleship end of that.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that question?
Yeah, and I want to just add an amendment to what we were talking about score wise. I just got a text back from Gabe, and that 1-0 Nobel score was incorrect.
Oh,
so good news. And
Matt Shively reporting.
Yes, and so it was their only match, so that's correct. 2-2 tie. So Nobel, I guess you get to put whatever you want on your website.
Well, what was the score we saw before? That was like the game was 5-2, but they had it 1-0.
Yeah, man. Who's reporting these things? So anyway,
it's a good thing we have our own in-studio
gosh
access. You've got the emergency line to the...
I do. A couple of these students, they can tell me the score, but they don't even remember who they played. So I don't know how reliable all of their info is either.
The other team was blue.
Exactly. So 2-2 tie, which makes more sense now than when we saw how it was a great trip, all that. Okay, a 2-2 tie makes a lot more sense of a great trip than a 1-0 loss. So good job, boys, on the push on the that'd be a point, right? If you're doing the 3 points for a win, 1 point for a tie. So that's good. So what you're saying too, I'll just even highlight one more with the volleyball team to go with your points about the baptisms on the beach and things like that, and the discipleship that Chrissy's really poured in. There was a moment a couple of school years ago. I forget exactly if it was 2 or 3. But I'm walking through, and Chrissy it's volleyball practice, and she has them all sitting on the bleachers. And she's kind of running out of the gym real fast, like, hey, do you have some pens? I'm like, what's going on? Like, I'm having them journal. I'm having them take some stock of where they are and just with the Lord and with themselves and all this. And I just need them, give them a chance to journal stuff. I'm like, yeah. So I went and found her some pens, and she was leading them in kind of she's more focused on their inner development at that moment in time than just their outer development as athletes. And I just think that was just a snippet of what makes her a great coach, first of all, but also she gets it, that investment. Obviously, the other coaches could be doing this too. I don't know if they are or not, but I just thought that was beautiful. And it really is so important, not just for our athletes on our campus, but all our students, to realize that spiritual development is a lifelong process. And so growing a little bit incrementally every day should be the goal, closer to Christ, closer to who God's made us to be. And as we were prepping the show here, we talked about how it is so important, just to even realize that, as you're you're growing closer to God every day, it's something that you need to put into practice every day. It's not something that will maybe always come naturally, but that spiritual development and growth is something we can model as professors, for example.
It doesn't come naturally. That's kind of the point.
That's not, yeah. And
we're counter to our nature when we follow Jesus, for sure.
Right. And some athletes at Christian colleges, I've found this from my college days, they want to play sports, which is great. They don't necessarily have a faith in Jesus yet, or a very deep faith in Jesus. And so that puts a unique perspective or a unique situation where you are a Christian college, but you are also evangelizing to your current students, showing them why they should align themselves with Christ in their development. And so when it comes to discipleship, it's a lifelong thing, and it needs to be kind of the ground needs to be tilled, It needs to be worked on. And so I think when you have a couple spiritual leaders on the team that might not be your best athlete, but they carry that weight of, this is why following Jesus matters beyond just on the field, off the field, on the court, off the court.
Kind of that internal chaplain, so to speak.
That internal chaplain. And so I think, I don't know if the coaches are all doing this. That would be just something to keep in the back in your mind as you're recruiting. Who's going to be my chaplain? Who's going to be the internal voice that's going to lead the rest of them closer to Jesus every single day? Follow me as I follow Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a great model.
And the reality is kind of like what you were saying last night on the broadcast about Alyssa Parra, kind of diving and sacrificing her body. You have to, when you're recruiting, you have to find that person who's going to be high effort, high energy, and also potentially a spiritual leader, because it's very difficult for other players to follow somebody that's not, willing to throw their whole weight into things. So it is a big challenge. I don't envy these coaches at all, having to try and find that person just off the street, basically, because they don't know these people until they start recruiting them. But I think it's, you and I were talking when we were prepping about just this hunger that's out there for this generation. This generation seems to be looking for truth. They seem to be looking for structure, identity,
authenticity, real.
Authenticity.
What's real? We live in a world of AI, which I'll watch a video on Instagram or something, and most of the time I'm wondering, was that real?
Yep.
Was that even real, what I just watched?
Yeah.
Most of the time it's not.
Yeah.
And that's the
reality. Certain people you see out there on Reels, will say things that you think have to be fake, but they
You're right.
I'm like, that has to be fake. Oh, right. No, that actually happened. Okay.
Well, it creates a crisis of what's real. What's not real. What do I trust? What do I not trust?
Mm-hmm.
Who's authentic and is showing me what they really are all about, and who's just trying to fool me. And
even beyond the AI, like you're talking about identity, different things. So real in the last 5 to 10 years has become whatever you deem it to be.
Right.
Reality is whatever people maybe
no absolute truth
think it is. And so you start to see, we were talking before about how it's no longer 1 or 2 football players praying in the end zone. Right. It's 40 of them.
Right.
And it's, you got people like Travis Hunter getting baptized in the NFL right before his game on Sunday. And you're starting to see these people stepping out in their faith. And I'm not just saying, I'd like to thank God for today. Like, we saw that for years and years and years, but these are people who are genuinely talking about their relationship with Jesus. And that's a change. That's a positive change I've seen in college athletics in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And that hopefully can carry over here to Justice University. I think there is that misconception, right, with all Christian colleges that, it's all Christians that go to that college. No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. And it's not, when the Christian college I went to, we called it the bubble because it felt like a Christian bubble.
That's what they call GCU too, because it's literally locked in over there. And,
but that's not necessarily how people are living. And not only that, but if that is true, well, then you need to be even more on guard to who can you share your faith with, who can you sharpen with. And so I think, I just a weird antidote of this, like from chapel, right, that they have once a week. I'd love to see a school of not kids that are like scrounging at the end of the semester to get their chapel credits, but the ones who are like, I'm good. Like I go
front load them.
Yeah, I go all the time. I go Sunday. I go to reconcile. I go Thursday. I know that's a built-in device that gives me opportunities to grow in my faith. Why would I miss that?
And the ones that plug in, like there's Tennyson here on campus that serves in a youth ministry. I don't know if he's here on campus serving in youth or at his own church. I'm not sure, but serving there. Vontae's singing on stage every week here at the Grove. And
that's great. Sydney's
Kareem was here when he was playing with his brother and his sister that would be front row.
Sydney's volunteering with children's ministry. I've seen the whole a lot of the soccer girls.
Savannah, even as a non-athlete, Savannah,
serving and Kara, another freshman, and lots of. I love that. I think that just goes a long way. They're setting great examples.
We're never more like Jesus than when we give them when we serve, right? So it's any opportunities you have to serve at a young age, especially, is a good thing. And, I commend, I know obviously the Grove and Justice are very interwoven, but I commend the church for having opportunities for students as they come in too, to serve, That's a good thing that not every college student gets those opportunities, even at Christian schools, to plug in and serve at a church. So, so just focusing on your walk with Jesus as part of your career here. You're a student athlete, as Matt likes to say, and not an athlete student, but you're also first and foremost created in the image of God. And even if you're not a Christian yet, you're created in the image of God.
Still are His image bearer.
And
whether or not you have taken that challenge to heart, it's true.
Yeah, might be something to ask your coach about, or your fellow teammates that you see. What's this person getting baptized in the ocean? What's that all about? Or
what a great example of living out their faith that we talked about. Like you're being that leader right there in that moment.
Yeah, I wonder. Again, behind closed doors, how many questions came from different things like that. Or when with Vontae singing, or with Kareem being as involved as he was before he graduated. I wonder how many conversations have happened offline. Just because of what are you doing all this for? Like, what does that mean? Yeah. Why are you at church twice like that? I barely go once to get the chapel credit. Why are you there every service? Very important. We could beat a dead horse and ramble on, but Christian school doesn't mean all Christians, but it does mean that we need to reflect Jesus in everything that we do. And that comes to on the court too. How do you behave on the court and all that? So that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, it is.
But we will wrap up our conversation today. We went a little bit longer than normal, so apologies for that. But episode 10, we had to go a little bit longer on episode 10. The double digits started, so
10% longer.
It was about 10% longer, so that's exactly right. So so Monday night, as far as we know right now, men's soccer, 14th, women's soccer. Tune in. Hopefully next week we'll have a preseason preview of basketball. So that'll be really cool to talk to Coach BJ and get some info on what's coming there. But for now, for Matt Shively, I'm Prof G, and thank you for tuning in to the Next Play podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you know when all of our broadcasts happen. But we will talk to you next time.
Peace.